All right, guys, we got a new Shoe0nhead. We all love the Commie Mommy here on this channel. Be really interesting to see what she is going to cover in this video because based on the thumbnail, it seems like she's going to go into the ICE shootings and Epstein Files stuff and things like that. And so I'm pretty curious because these recent ICE shootings have been very decisive for a lot of people. Seems pretty cut and dry to me, but, you know, emotions are high. So I'll be interested to see what Shoe's take is. So I haven't watched this yet. She just posted this last night. So let's take a look. Hellworld report. Oh, is she bringing back Hellworld?
Hello friends, my name is Shoe0nhead and welcome to my new series, The Hellworld Report. Some of you may remember my old series that was just called Hellworld. If you do, you can qualify for a veterans discount. Congratulations! And if you remember the Gamergate days, well, please come collect your retirement. But yeah, if you have not seen my old series, go check it out. I will put the link to the playlist down below. I think it's a really interesting time capsule into the years 2020 and 2021, like how crazy it was back then, and then in retrospect comparing it to how crazy it is now. But this is a shorter, more condensed version of that series. Think of it as a Temu, Jon Stewart, or Stephen Colbert before they morphed into the same flavor of shitlib. You see, I'm better than those late night Jimmies because I don't get my news from mainstream sources like some kind of hack. No. I get them from far more reputable places like Instagram Reels and Femboy Goiper69 on Twitter. From furry ballrooms and the Epstein Files to OnlyFans green cards and kidnapping foreign leaders, from government-funded purple-haired girlfriends to a potential civil war, we have a very packed show for you today. It has been a crazy year, and it is only January. As I am filming this, we are currently having a huge winter storm.
This morning, snow, ice, and frigid temperatures sweeping across the nation. 20 states under a state of emergency.
Ah yes, perfect weather to make some poor immigrant deliver me chicken tendies. It's so cold that Michigan and Minnesota received reports about exploding trees. Leftists said no more ice, and God said... Anyway, in news that should have stayed in 2016, apparently there is a new term women have coined called man-keeping. Man-keeping is why women are done with dating. Researchers at Stanford have finally given a name to something many women have been dealing with for years. It's called man-keeping, and it's helping explain why so many women are stepping away from dating altogether. Man-keeping describes the emotional labor women end up doing in heterosexual relationships. It goes beyond remembering birthdays or coordinating social plans. It means being your partner's one-man support system, managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hand through feelings he won't share with anyone else. All of it unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated. I hate this therapy speak people talk with nowadays. Emotional labor? You mean being there for your partner? This is why so many people are just gonna start dating ChatGPT. People thought men were gonna be the ones dating AI. No. They're gonna be the ones with these sex robots. Women are the ones who want the daily affirmation machines. Yes, honey, I love when you talk about all the drama at work. Tell me more about that bitch Veronica. Man.
Yeah, because men require a lot of your emotional support and a lot of your ear time. Yeah, that's the men in the relationship that want to tell you all about your every problem they had throughout the day. Yeah.
Spreading, mansplaining, man-interrupting, man-keeping, manscaping. Speaking of manscaping, before we dive into the news, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor that can help you with your manscaping, Henson Shaving. All right. Let's start with some good news. The median age of home buyers is now 59. But that's not all. America's seniors will now see a new $6,000 bonus exemption as part of the Working Families Tax Cut. That's $93 billion in tax cuts for seniors all over the country. And by Working Families Tax Cut, they mean you, the working family, giving another $1 billion wealth transfer to the most oppressed class. Boomers! Why are we giving these geriatric f***s another tax break? Maybe they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Maybe they should stop buying so much avocado toast. God forbid we help young families raise the next generation of Americans.
Yeah, God forbid.
That would be...
But let's do, you know, no tax on Social Security, right? Because, you know, even if you're worth $20 million, you'll still earn your Social Security. and now you get it without tax.
Communism. Young people are poor as f nowadays. What are they supposed to do?
Piper Raquel, 18, claims she made $2.9 million in a single day after launching OnlyFans.
No more rights. No more women's rights. I am ready for the Islamic revolution. Mayor Memdani, please press the Islamification button. I know the go-to joke is always...
Can we just go back to, you know, some mildly more conservative Christian values? We don't need to jump into full-on Sharia jihad here.
Haha, women, am I right? But I think the real question here is, should men be allowed to have credit cards? This woman didn't magically create millions of dollars with her mind out of thin air. No. Millions of men made this woman a millionaire overnight. Where's the accountability for that? I'm out here policing the whores. We need some men to be out there policing the simps. We have a simp epidemic. Simps are out of control. Not all of them, though.
I mean, I kind of think like 90% of those OF girls that post about their earnings are full of crap. I mean, just personally, not to get me wrong, I think they're definitely making good money, but I think all these like $80 million years and stuff, I think is just, it's either complete BS or like 90% of it is coming from like a handful of people, which I mean, that I could see happening. Because just like casinos, you know, casinos make the majority of their profit off 0.1% of their customers. I think the OF models are probably the same. But if you look at most of their like sub bases, I mean, yeah, they're probably making, you know, $30,000-$40,000 a month. Like that's, don't get me wrong, that's great money. But with how popular they are and how well known they are for what they're doing, I mean, they probably could have gotten famous in social media and leverage that into making that much anyway. The real money, I think, would come in when you get some guy that wants to just send you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to try and woo you, and you just lead them along, which is something women used to look down on, and now they praise it. So
mine are cool. They can stay. Also, isn't this like the third OnlyFans 18th birthday announcement? And the woman turns into a
that whole
millionaire overnight. Someone a little sus about that. But don't worry, thanks to AI, we are entering a new age of goonerism.
I saw this online. It's so gross.
Honestly, what's the big deal? Men are already talking to the guys in India who run the accounts of OnlyFans models.
That's
Is this
true,
really
too.
any different? The internet is slowly but surely just
Very
becoming...
true. Any of you guys that think, you know, Sophie Rain is actually messaging you back, like, it's not Sophie Rain, bro. It's some guy in India making 30 cents an hour. Hate to tell you.
Indian men scamming other Indian men. But don't worry, not every internet waifu is a man using AI. In fact, if you live in the UK, you may get a state-funded, far-right, purple-haired waifu. Introducing Pathways, a point-and-click video game created by the UK government to help prevent online radicalization.
I thought about making a video
Pathways
about this.
is an educational
Pretty
visual
ridiculous.
novel and learning experience created by the UK media company Shout Out UK, with funding from UK government's Prevent program run by the Home Office. The game is meant to teach the youth about dangers of radicalization and extremism in both real life and online. This is done by putting the players in a role of a character named Charlie, who must navigate 6 different scenarios relating to extremism. In the second scenario, the player is introduced to the character Amelia, a staunch anti-immigration protester depicted as a goth girl with purple hair, a pink dress, and a choker.
And the internet instantly fell in love with her. It's like they made her have short purple hair thinking that that would prevent this from happening. But the UK failed to consider the fact that conservatives love art hoes. They act like they don't, they'll deny it, they'll pretend they just want a blonde traditional housewife, but deep down every conservative wants a woman who looks like this, who says the N-word. Government-funded video games. Incredible. At least our government doesn't do weird shit like that. No, our government is very normal. Believe it or not, Mar-a-Lago Furry Party was on my 2026 bingo card. I miss when this weird shit was just done underground. I miss when these parties were secret. Speaking of, the Epstein Files were released.
Yeah, I must have missed the Mar-a-Lago Furry Party thing, but that's that type of stuff doesn't really come up on my timeline.
Wow. Incredible. The things they are showing us are eerie enough. I couldn't imagine the things that they're redacting. It is absolutely disgusting that these powerful people are still being protected. We as a country should be extremely concerned about an international child trafficking ring. This is not just something we all move from, and we kidnapped the president of Venezuela.
Breaking just now, Maduro, the president says, has been captured.
Maduro has been captured and flown out of the country.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
First pictures of Nicolas Maduro on the Iwo Jima that he was being transferred on.
Trump voters voted to fix the economy and to afford homes again. They didn't vote to kidnap communists in the middle of the night. Actually, they probably did vote for that.
I was going to say.
Never mind.
The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Holy shit. This is the most transparent administration in history. They weren't lying. I don't know if it's the Stockholm Syndrome or what, but it's almost refreshing to hear a leader say, yeah, this is about oil. Like, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for just saying it's about...
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and honestly, I think the reason the Democrats and the Democrat establishment, which then leads the leftist in America, the reason they hate Trump so much isn't because of anything about him. Like, obviously, they all loved him before he ran for president, right? Like, all these people loved him. Democrats and Republicans were all big Trump fans and would, go to his hotels and go to his parties and everything else prior to him getting into politics. I think the reason they hate him so much is because he just says what he thinks. Like, he's so transparent and so available. And whether you're right or left, a lot of these guys in politics, especially the crooked ones, they want to do a bunch of shady shit. And when you got a president that tweets 20 times a day and talks to reporters every time they're in front of him and tells them what's going on, you can't really get away with a lot of shady shit.
Oil. Thank you for not pretending it's about saving democracy and just doing imperialism the old-fashioned way. We have such terrible Middle Eastern war fatigue that it was shocking to not hear about how Venezuela is just jealous of our freedoms or some shit. Like, no, it's just for ExxonMobil. Like, okay, carry on.
The US used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through their nose, and vomiting blood during the daring raid to capture dictator Nicolas Maduro.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we don't have healthcare, this is why. We have invisible laser beams that can make people bleed out their f***ing eyes.
And we're paying for Somali terrorist groups and billions of dollars in healthcare fraud.
Apparently, directed energy weapons are real. The Goy beam is real. Deep state files are real. Havana syndrome is real. Hell, it's almost like being a conspiracy theorist is just another word for being correct too early. What's next? COVID was fake?
There have been significant developments in the last 5 to 7 years on social, environment, and technology fronts that could help realize My Carbon initiatives for shaping the future towards smart and sustainable cities. COVID-19 was the test of social responsibility. A huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility.
Oh, sorry, I just owe many people many apologies. Anyway, Venezuela has no president. Who is going to run Venezuela?
So we are going to run the country.
A few moments later.
Hola amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trumpo.
Can we maybe just fix our country first? Can we fix our broken infrastructure, our education system? Can we do a little nation building in this nation? Can a bitch get a little regime change in our own country, please? And with modern American nation building comes refugees. So who is gonna take in these Venezuelan refugees? Are we? Only the hot ones, apparently.
United States increasingly issuing work visas to OnlyFans models based on level of audience reach, according to the Financial Times.
Imagine being an immigrant from some poor country, working your ass off to get a work visa in the United States, when all you had to do was bend over and show hole. Big booty Latinas to the front, tortas to the back. Anyway, na boo-boo, my president can kidnap your president. We're invincible, we can regime change anyone we want. Who's next? Canada, Greenland, Cuba? Cuba's literacy rates are higher than ours. Maybe they should come liberate our dumbasses. Kids are swiping on books. But f it, the Don Road Doctrine, baby. Let's go, America is back. Dick Cheney is looking up at us smiling.
You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship. Their days are numbered.
Trump, listen to me. Wait, Trump doesn't watch this shit. Vance, listen to me. Get people like Lindsey Graham far away from anyone in power right now. This little Venezuela stunt was cute, but we are not touching any other country. We are not touching the Middle East, especially. No more Middle East. We all have Middle East fatigue. We are done. This whole thing really put into perspective just how weird it was that we were there like for 20 years. You mean we could have just been in and out in a few hours? I guess those
Think about that.
Poppy fields couldn't maintain themselves, though. Anyway.
See, man, that's what I love about Shoe is like, even though I disagree with her on the majority of the stuff, she at least can understand and accept reality, which is that like Venezuelans did not want Maduro and did not like Maduro. You know how many leftists in America were out protesting to free Maduro? Look at the comments on my videos about this of idiots like, oh, you know, we just kidnapped another people's leader. They're rioting in the streets right now. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Get out of your crazy left-wing echo chamber. Like, just open your freaking eyes, man. Yeah, they look real sad.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. But did you forget to check in with Lilith, the barista from Bushwick, and see how she feels about this?
Trump said the United States will be running Venezuela. Whoa! A colony! Whoa! Imperialism! All for what? So a fucking multinational corporation can get profit!
You know what's funny is I basically said the exact same thing this person said, but I said it less loudly. She has a nose ring and I don't, so I'm right and she's wrong. End of story. I guess this is just what happens when you dismantle the soft power of things like USAID. We're no longer doing secret regime change operations behind the scenes.
Yeah, which don't work and end up in really big, messy conflicts that cost us billions of dollars and decades to unravel if they ever even are able to unravel them.
Now we're just straight up kidnapping other world leaders in the dead of night and just saying it's about oil, which honestly kind of makes me believe it's not about oil. They're never that blatant, right? I mean, what could it be? Like, Israel isn't behind this one, right?
The implications here are really great for the Israel.
She's not going to go down the everything is Israel's fault rabbit hole, is she?
The Venezuelan people.
Oh, God damn it. You know, people say I have Israel derangement syndrome, but I'm sorry, I can't help it when they get on TV and say shit like this.
No, it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, and quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government
should.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's obviously insane, right? I mean, but that doesn't speak for all of Israel. And that sure doesn't mean that Trump agrees with that. If anything, I mean, Trump, whatever you want to say personally as a lefty, my personal experience, having been shadow banned, debanked, kickoff platforms, blah, 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 for not even spouting 1/100th of the political takes that I say now. I mean, during the Biden admin, this is like going from China to America, going from the Biden regime to the Trump regime. Now, if you think that children should be allowed to castrate themselves and that, anyone or object that claims to be a woman can be a woman, you probably didn't experience this during the Biden administration. But the rest of us did, and we're still pissed about it. I know I am.
Social media.
Yeah, should do that.
Try explaining that to someone without showing them the video. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a Jewish billionaire named Shlomo who wants to control the internet. Like, okay, man, you're in too deep. No more Instagram reels for you. Anyway, you should have just let us play video games. Now we're perp walking the president of Venezuela down the streets of New York City. But hey, leftists, just think of it this way. By bombing and kidnapping instead of just doing the usual covert psyops, we saved maybe, what, $1 billion? $1 billion that could go to other, more important things, like defense contractor stock buybacks and empty Somalian daycares, apparently.
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley, back at a daycare in Minnesota he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
I honestly would bet for every $10 in taxes you pay, maybe $1 actually goes to stuff that matters in America. The other 9 goes to shit like this. I do not think that's an overestimation. I really don't.
Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers.
It's not like Nick Shirley was the first person to expose this either, but now it exploded. And the fallout has been bizarre, to say the least. The funniest part had to be when the infamous Luring Center claimed to have been broken into the night this all went viral.
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation.
I'm pretty sure that was a different daycare that said that, Shoe, but...
Enrollment of the children and also employee documentation that was gone. There were also...
It was still very funny, though.
Checkbooks that were ripped from our... check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news.
Oh no, somebody broke into the daycare and stole all the paperwork we needed to prove we are a legit operation. Please ignore my suspicious exact paperwork we need to prove we are a legit operation shaped belly. Listen, no hate to the Somalians, but when my family came here 100 years ago, we did organized crime the right way. We would have had Tim Walls and cement shoes at the bottom of Lake Superior. This is just sad. This is cartoonishly pathetic. Listen, nobody is gonna want to support government programs if they think it's all going to shit like this. If you want people to support a welfare...
That's the problem. It is. Like, you look at anything they try and fix, anything the government tries to fix. I can go and patch a hole of concrete for, you know, a couple $100 in an afternoon of labor. If you send it to the state to do it, it's going to cost you 50 grand and 2 months of the road being closed. It's ridiculous. Everything they do is a scam. Everything. It's overpriced, handed to friends that have businesses, or just straight up stolen, like in the homeless stuff in my state, Oregon, and in Washington and in California. Billions and billions of dollars for homeless, yet we have more and more homeless every year. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? You talk to the homeless care workers and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, we got plenty of beds. We got plenty of resources. Like, it's, you know, doesn't matter. You know, because they're just wasting the money. You could start... Like, let's say I want to start a homeless care facility in my state. I go and get $1 million from the government for supplies. I go to my buddy who owns a supply company for whatever, drug test strips. He charges me 10 times the normal amount. Me and him split the profit difference. You know, it's shit like that. And it's all over everything the government puts its hands on. That's why, like, government providing services just doesn't work. Doesn't work. I get in your, you know, leftist utopian brain, it should work out beautifully where this magical mother government can just provide everything for you and you just pay your fair share of your income. But that's not the freaking reality of every civilization that's ever been established.
State. You have to make sure that welfare is actually going to real things that help real people. Listen, it's already hard enough to convince a right-wing audience that there's more to leftism than Reddit and butt sex. Now I have to convince them the wealth redistribution I advocate for isn't all going to Somalian welfare pirates. Thanks. Yes. That money should be spent on more important things like... New Gaza. That's right, the World Economic Forum and Jared Kushner are proud to present New Gaza. Yes, the demolition project is finally complete, folks. Time to build a Sweet Green and a f***ing Deloitte branch on top of the bodies of thousands of dead children. Hell is not hot enough, ladies and gentlemen. Hell is not hot enough. Anyway, because of all this fraud stuff, Tim Walls is stepping down, which is sad to see because he has to be one of my favorite characters in modern America lore. The first white male DEI hire, the last white dude for Kamala Harris, a dying breed. But hey, maybe this marks an official end to the Kamala Harris era, and we can move on and focus on rebuilding the Democratic Party to something more.
Harris stepping toward another White House run.
No. We are not doing this. No.
Shoe, you just gotta accept it, man. The Democrats cannot help themselves. They are in too deep, brainwashed too far, and too corrupted. It's unsavable at this point.
I swear to God, the Democratic Party is like an old friend addicted to heroin or something. You want to help them, you do everything you can to help them, but they don't listen. They keep doing stupid things and hurting themselves. But you just can't give up on them. You can't. You want to see them get better. You know deep down, they could be how they used to be. But it's hopeless. And all your other friends keep saying to you, just forget them. Just forget them, it's not worth it. Come hang out with us instead. But those friends are on crack. Those friends are on crack cocaine. But this Minneapolis fraud thing is looking pretty bad for Tim Walz and the Democrats. People aren't just gonna forget about this, and an ICE officer just shot a woman in the face in Minneapolis.
You can hear the agents tell the woman to get out of the car and approach the SUV.
Why do you think Walz had them so fired up and was telling them from his mansion on a megaphone to get out there and do stuff? Because he wanted this to happen. The reality of the situation. He wanted to escalate tensions to get the spotlight off of him.
The woman then drives forward. That's when the shots are fired, the car crashing.
As I was writing this video, an innocent woman was picking her kids up from school when an ICE officer jumped in front of her car and randomly shot her in the face. Or an angry protester was blocking the road and tried to run over an ICE officer with her car, so he shot in self-defense. Depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you voted, apparently. The way I see it, this woman was not trying to hit him. She was not trying to run him over. I think she was trying to drive away. And in an alternate universe, he dodges the car and she drives away. And it's easy to be like, oh, in hindsight, he should have done this, he should have done that. That's like so much of the discourse right now I'm seeing is just in hindsight this, in hindsight that. And it's easy for us to say in hindsight, you know, after the fact. It's easy to say he could have, he should have. But all he saw was a car revving up and going towards him. This has been one of the most
It's such a common, like the amount of comments I get arguing with me that these are just murders of innocent people, these two shootings, is just like, how brain dead are people? If I rev my engine and start driving my car into you and hit you, and you're a law enforcement officer, you're gonna shoot me. If I'm fighting with you while I'm armed and resisting arrest and a gun goes off, you're going to get shot. Like, it's common sense. I don't understand how so many people think that the police literally need to not use deadly force until they're dead themselves, basically. Well, wait until the protester kills you, and then you know his intent, and you can use lethal force, is basically their argument. It's so stupid.
Insane political Rorschach tests I've ever seen in my life. It really all comes down to how you view ICE and police officers in general. Many, not all, leftists view ICE as completely illegitimate. Same with the police, they want to abolish both. So you're not going to get a real unbiased conversation with those people. Because why the f should a protester respect ICE in the first place? And many, not all, conservatives tend to be complete and utter f***ing bootlickers. Completely unable to criticize anything the police do. ICE can do no wrong. Don't tread on me becomes tread harder, daddy, real fast. This is extremely aggravating discourse, and you should be questioning anyone who takes a really firm, hard stance either way and like can't fathom how—
I mean, I get what she's saying about the right, but I don't think that really works in this scenario. Like, there's been scenarios in the past where absolutely I'm watching people like just defend like, if a police officer shoots him, it was justified, case closed kind of attitude. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, like you're on a little bit too much of the sauce, because the way I see it, police officers, ICE officers, whoever, they're just people, just like me and you, bud. And they've had maybe some more training in those type of scenarios and with firearms and stuff like that. But other than that, they're just people. They're capable of mistakes. They're capable of being overly aggressive. They're capable of being underly aggressive. They're capable of misreading a situation or anything else, just as much as any of us. So, like, if I put myself in those shoes as those officers, I'd be fearing for my life. Every police shooting, though, that's not necessarily the case. There's plenty of situations where you get, you know, an angry cop or something, somebody that's had a bad day, and they're being a piece of shit. Like, I watch a lot of body cam footage, and I've seen a lot of, police shows and stuff like that. And there's plenty of times where I'm like, wow, that cop is an asshole. He's going to get in trouble after this. It's not hard for most people to be objective. It's just they don't want to be. They want the cop to be the bad guy, or they want the cop to be the good guy. It's really what it comes down to.
The other side is seeing what they are seeing. The first episode of my old Hellworld series was actually all about police brutality. It was all about police brutality towards innocent protesters. I was a little more ACAB-y back then. I was a little more libbed the f*** out back then. But hey, to be fair to me back then, that is what happens when you live in the sheltered suburbs of Long Island in your parents' basement versus having a kid and living in the city for 4 years.
It's almost like all those times when we talk about the most liberal people or because they're the most entitled, sheltered people in the world, and that's why they think everything out there in the world is sunshine and rainbows until these evil police officers or Trump MAGA assassins come and mess up this beautiful, homogenous melting pot of these wonderful immigrants from other countries. Yeah. When you're in Beverly Hills and behind a gate with a 2% minority ratio in your city, I'm sure you feel that way. Go into an inner city, buddy. Like, shut the fuck up.
The police are a taxpayer-funded HR department for structural violence. They exist solely to protect the rights of
Honestly, though, big props to her for realizing that her opinions came from a skewed perspective. Like, big ups to her. A lot of people won't admit that, even when it's right in front of their face. These protesters and stuff can sit there and watch violence against police officers and then still say that the police were the aggressors. It's crazy. So big ups to her for actually being able to say, I thought cops were the problem back when I lived in a very safe area and I didn't need cops around. And then all I see is these video of cops being jackasses. And then I lived in an area where people were pieces of shit and treated the cops like crap on a daily basis and fought with them and shot at them and everything else. And now I understand why, they're being a little rougher with these people.
Property. Yeah, we need more police. Police are good. Police are great. Give the police more guns. More guns. Give them more guns. Tanks. Tanks, even. My overall opinion is still basically the same. I'm very critical of the police. I am very pro First Amendment. Protesting is a fundamental American right. And we can't just go around labeling protesters domestic terrorists. That is an insane, slippery slope.
I mean, at the end of the day, police have power, and anyone in a position of power should be criticized and held under a microscope. It sucks for the police officers, but that's just the reality of the job. Same thing with our government officials. Same thing with anybody that holds power over other or multiple human beings. They need to be criticized and they need to be looked at to make sure they're staying in check.
And if you support that, I promise you will come back to bite you in the ass. So good luck in 2028 when President Newsom knocks you up. Whoa, knocks you up. Whoa, what's going on here? Good luck in 2028 when President Newsom locks you up for protesting against mandatory forced feminization or whatever the f it is Democrats do. What do they do? Nothing. They do nothing. I don't f***ing know. I left this joke blank.
Try and castrate children.
Something pronouns. Like, God forbid the state ever turns me into Swiss cheese and the president's like, she was a radical leftist lunatic. The people called her Commie Mommy. Can you believe that, folks? Commie Mommy. Sad. And some people were like straight up mocking this woman, celebrating it. And then when people were like, what the f***? They were like, well, you got Charlie Kirk, so now we got one of your guys. Is that what we're doing now? We're just gonna keep killing each other back and forth? Is that what this is now? Like some kind of civil war? Who gets me in the national divorce? Hell yeah, 2 Christmases. Like, you agreed with me when I was upset about the reactions people had about Charlie Kirk, and then you're over here like, boo-hoo, she was a stupid libtard. Honestly, some of you just don't have morals. You have like temporary weapons you can use to bludgeon people you don't like.
It's different though, man. It's so different. Like, I've heard this argument a bunch of times, like, oh, well, you shouldn't say anything about Renee or what she was doing or Alex Peretti or what he was doing if you got mad at people criticizing Charlie Kirk. No. There's a big difference that I don't know if she's going to touch on, but at least so far she's missing. And that is the joyous celebration at the death of another person. Okay. if people on the left just wanted to say, well, Charlie Kirk was an idiot, you know, sucks he's dead, but he was a moron, I'd be fine with that. Like, that's your opinion. That's basically what most people on the right are saying about Renee Good and Alex Peretti. They were dumb, doing shit they shouldn't have been doing, that most people above 5 years old know could get you shot, and they got shot. That sucks. You know? Rip bozo, basically. That is a lot different than, woohoo, my day is made because this person is dead. I'm so happy. Do you see the difference? Like, really? To me, it's night and day. But it doesn't seem like this nuance gets captured much with people who are lib-brained. So hopefully, if any of y'all are watching this video, you can explain how acknowledging that someone was dumb and died is the same as being physically excited and celebrating the death of another human being. Because to me, these are not the same thing. They're very, very different. If one of my friends that I love, like, did a bunch of blow and Viagra and had a heart attack and died, I'd be like, fuck, that sucks, but he was an idiot. I'm not going to celebrate that my friend is dead. Like, it's a very clear distinction between recognizing that a person put themselves in a dangerous situation and that was not intelligent for them to do, and being gleeful and happy that someone died. Like, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. It seems very cut and dry to me.
When you have the chance. You and all the people who mock Charlie Kirk are all going in the pit, and you can come out when you learn how to be normal. In my opinion, a lot of focus on illegal immigration should go to the employers employing illegal immigrants for cheaper scab labor. I feel like that's really important, and like, we're not doing that. It's kind of interesting that the government is focused so hard on immigration right now, but like, apparently hasn't made any like real actual legislative change to the laws of immigration.
Because they don't need to. They just need to enforce the law. Biden didn't do anything. He threw all the laws away. That's what is so crazy, is all these liberals are burning their cities down and protesting over laws that have been on the book their entire freaking lifetime and have been enforced, other than the 4 years of Biden. The whole rest of the time, Obama used the same laws, did the same arrests for the same reasons that Trump is doing. Like, it's nuts.
Dragging Jose out of Home Depot might work for now, but they have to be working on something more substantial, right? Well, Palantir, the company named after the evil crystal ball in Lord of the Rings, right, is apparently working on a new tool for ICE. And what does it do? Oh, nothing really. Just creates a map of deportation targets, pulls up a dossier on them, and assigns them a confidence score. Because if there's one thing we can trust, it's a private Silicon Valley tech company's algorithm deciding who gets disappeared. Every single surveillance tool starts by simply protecting us. It's only gonna affect the baddies. But who are the baddies? Today it's illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan
Tomorrow
of
it's
Palantir,
furries.
to be honest.
Next week it's people who are into feet. And
I think any of these like big tech AI companies need to stay away from government for the most part. Like, I think they can help in some respects, but it's got to be very well monitored.
before you know it, it's fans of VTubers. You know, on second thought, I don't buy into the propaganda that simply enforcing border security, something every developed country has, is akin to Nazi Germany. Sorry, I don't. Build a wall.
Thank God. At least one liberal isn't crazy.
Hitler. Deport illegal immigrants? Hitler. Just kick out the criminal ones at least? Hitler. Like, there's no other option besides open borders that is acceptable to some people, and I don't get that. What I do get, however, is that people don't want to live under a Palantir police state, where people can't even film ICE agents without getting put on some kind of f***ing list. I feel like there has to be some kind of normal, sane option besides total free-for-all, globo-homo versus Peter Thiel, nightmare tech bro dystopia. Like, how is it not possible to just, like, be normal, be normal, be normal, be normal? But hey, it's cool to
I mean, the people that are forcing them to be more strategic about how they do their ICE operations is not the right. I hate to tell you, but if they weren't getting doxxed and harassed and, you know, people weren't hiding illegals intentionally and blocking the roads when ICE tried to come down it, they wouldn't need to seek this type of stuff out. I mean, let's just be real. If they were able to successfully run their immigration enforcement, I mean, they still might seek to do it better, right? But I think the fact that they're running into so much resistance is a big part of why they're looking at doing more targeted operations and using tech to find those targets.
DHS created a portal where you can see all the people they have been deporting. One guy was deported back to Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. We sent that motherfucker back in time. Listen, what happened to Renee Good was a tragedy. It was terrible, but hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. And another person was shot by ICE in Minneapolis.
According to a preliminary Department of Homeland Security report, 2 Border Patrol agents discharged their weapons, seen here in graphic cell phone video captured by eyewitnesses. 10 shots fired off in total in just seconds. Preddy pronounced dead on the scene.
To be absolutely clear, stuff is still coming out about this as I am filming. Literally, as I am filming, this happened. You know, there's no body cam footage yet, so I could be totally wrong. Totally possible, totally possible. However, first impressions of watching the video at multiple angles, multiple times, yeah, I think they just fucking murdered that guy. It looks like they took his gun and then shot him. Like 10 officers come over to him, wrestle him to the ground, the agent disarms him, take his...
How are the officers, come on, use some common sense. How are the officers, when there's 10 officers fighting with him, as you said, how are those officers fighting with him supposed to know in that split second that he was disarmed before discharging their weapon, unless you have any proof that they were notified? Like, that's such a big assumption that everyone on the left just makes automatically, is like, oh, the moment that gun was in ICE custody, apparently all of them got alerts into their eye chips that said he's now disarmed. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Like, there is seconds in that clip between fighting, disarm, shots. Like, it's like that. It's not this like, oh, they disarmed him, sat there, had a conversation, walked over and, you know, executed him, which is how literally a lot of the people on the left tend to describe it.
Gun, they yell gun, 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 and then they shoot him several times in the back. More information can come out, but the compulsive bootlicking I have been seeing has been fucking insane.
Why does a nurse feel compelled to go confront ICE armed with a 9mm handgun? Only one person could have prevented this from happening, and it's Alex Preddy.
Yeah, who goes to a protest and brings a gun? Look, if the government can take a firearm from you and then kill you because you had a firearm, then nobody actually...
I don't understand why Nuance is just lost on some people. She'll get there. She'll get there. Saw how she's, you know, come around on the Renee Good. If she sees the more recent evidence and sees how Peretti acted towards ICE officers and stuff like that, I mean, it's like, obviously this guy was not just some, you know, random pedestrian that they took, disarmed, and then executed. And if you watch the video in real time, not in slow-mo frame by frame, there's no way that the officers all would have known he was disarmed. There's no way that, you know, a lot of the stuff that the left wants to say about it, it just doesn't make sense. It's a heat of the moment judgment call thing. Ultimately, the officer made the wrong judgment call. Like, the officer made the wrong judgment call. But was that a reasonable judgment call to make, given the scenarios? Given you're wrestling with a guy who's resisting, fellow officer calls out gun, gun, gun. There's a lot of reports now that the first shot was a misfire from Peretti's own gun when they removed it. So just think about it logically. You're an officer. This guy's been fighting with you guys, harassing you guys, being violent towards you guys. He gets in the middle of you doing an arrest. You start to order him under arrest. He's fighting with you, wrestling you. There's 10 officers circled around. You're in the middle of it fighting. There's pepper spray in the air. Your eyes are burning. You can barely see. You're just, you know, fighting with your hands with him. And then you hear, he's got a gun. What are you going to do? Are you going to wait for bullets to start entering your body? Or are you going to draw and start shooting as quickly as you can? I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's not a matter of bootlicking. It's pretty obvious. But there were a lot of people using some really dumb excuses to defend Peretti, or to defend the officers. So I'll give her that, because like Stephen Miller talking about, oh, he was there with multiple clips because he was going to wipe out multiple like, come on. I don't think Peretti went there with the intention to shoot anybody. I think he went there with the intention to fuck with ICE as much as he could until he got arrested. And that's a bad idea with any law enforcement, especially if you're carrying a gun. Don't care if it's legal or illegal. Bringing a weapon into a situation escalates it from what's potentially a physical conflict into a potentially deadly conflict. Any CCW class will tell you that. If Peretti was going there to hold a sign up and yell at ICE, I don't see a problem with him carrying a gun. If Peretti went there that day knowing he was going to get in physical altercations with police officers, then it was a really bad idea to carry a gun. Just plain and simple.
Has a right to own a firearm. If that is how it works, then there's actually no such thing as the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not exist. I feel like some people genuinely just forget that police are just people. ICE officers are just people. They're literally just people who work for the government like anyone else. They're DMV employees with guns. They can be stupid. They can be bad. They can make mistakes. Like, I don't know what it is about some people. Like, once someone has a badge, it's like, that person is just a perfect angel and cannot be criticized at all. You're telling me all I have to do to get you fucking people to listen to me is to dress like this? Alright, fair enough. Stop gooning. None of this would have happened if ICE agents were being trained better instead of being rushed through the system with little to no training. And if Minnesota just worked alongside ICE to make sure they were doing this in a safe and more effective way instead of just egging on a fucking jihad against them.
I mean, that's a cope too. Sorry, Shoe. That's just not accurate. ICE agents are generally agents coming from other law enforcement. And beyond that, the 2 people or the 3 people in these shootings all are decade plus experience. So trying to say they were rushed through training or something like that, it's completely unrelated, doesn't make any sense, and not accurate. I mean, you have, I think the guy that shot Renee Good had like 8 years on the job, and the 2 that shot Peretti was like 10 and 6 or something like that. So no one that shot anybody was rushed through 8-week training course with no law enforcement experience. It's a lie. It didn't happen. So
also, if ICE's goal is to round up pedophiles and fraudsters, I hear there's a pretty big list of pedophiles and fraudsters that need to be rounded up. Unfortunately, we'll never fucking get to see it. I'm trying to make this video somewhat funny and entertaining, but I'm not gonna lie, this is really bleak. Is America okay? Can we please go one single day without living through a major historical event, please? And a bunch of new...
I feel like every millennial is like, can we just get through a year without something crazy happening? Because it didn't used to be like this. I will tell the Zoomers out there, it didn't used to be like this, man. From my life, like 12 to 30... we didn't have shit like this happening all the time.
Epstein Files just dropped. Great. We're going to war with Iran soon, aren't we? Where was I? This just says Mr. Beast tendies. What? Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is simulating a chicken's body, and the cells are just multiplying. I honestly can't tell the difference. What the heck?
I will not live in a pod. I will not eat the Antichrist lab-grown chicken tendies. Oh, no. I completely forgot about this. Sorry, I am not on my Vyvanse today, folks. I forgot to take my normal pills. It wasn't long before the race hustlers took advantage of the terrible Renee Good situation in Minneapolis.
Say Her Name is a movement started by Black women for Black women specifically, and it's not appropriate to use in regards to Renee Good.
She deserves a hashtag and everything. It should not be Say Her Name. Say Her Name is reserved for Black women.
This is not for any other race. Simple as that.
Say Her Name is specifically reserved for Black women.
Say Her Name is for Black women.
It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
Why do you think, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why. That's called white guilt, honey. That's the white guilt you're feeling. It's amazing. You can literally be killed by the state for the cause. And these fucking people will still disgrace you for the curse of being born Caucasian. This is very woke 1.0. I thought it was dark woke time.
Nobody forgetting when they're good. She has achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor.
She has achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor. And this type of psychotic rhetoric seems to be working because like 70%.
But, you know, Nick Fuentes says something like that and he's a conspiracy theorist.
Of the videos I see of people like trying to disrupt ICE has been white women. White women literally throwing themselves at armed officers like lemmings off a fucking cliff for street tacos. What the hell is going on with white women? Who will save the white race?
Oh God. Oh God.
Ah yes, Hitler's strongest soldiers. A Mexican, a Dominican, a black guy, and a Looksmaxer.
That Looksmaxer is none other than Clavicular. Clavicular is a Gen Z influencer live streamer who got his start within the niche red pill communities and has recently blown up to mainstream popularity, especially in right-wing circles. His main claim to fame is Looksmaxing. Looksmaxing, for those of you who are employed, is...
Looksmaxing is a term for aggressively maximizing one's physical attractiveness through routines like skincare, facial exercises, mewing, fitness, and sometimes extreme cosmetic procedures. Originating in online incel forums, but popularized on TikTok, focusing on enhancing features like jawline and bone structure.
I personally think it's interesting to see men adopting the insane beauty rituals that women have been doing for decades. But now that a man is doing it, it's seen as psychopathic or gay. A woman will literally spend thousands of dollars on hair, makeup, skincare, peptides, plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, red light therapy, moon water.
Yeah, but most of that is to impress women. The same thing that men are doing it. It's not to impress men. Men don't give a shit about 90% of that.
And we just call her Stacy. But a man does it and we call him Patrick Bateman. A woman reshapes her entire face with makeup? Normal. A man reshapes his jawline with makeup? Gay. A woman wears a push-up bra to make her tits look bigger? Empowering. A man shoves socks in his shoes to make himself taller? A liar. A woman gets lip filler? Typical. A man smashes his face with a hammer to make his jaw swell up? Okay, yeah, that one's a little insane. One of the Looksmaxing tips some young men are apparently doing is called bone smashing, where they take a hard object, usually a hammer, and smash the bones in their face to make their face temporarily swell up and allegedly give them that Chad jawline. Honestly, don't knock it till you try it. Here we go. Perfect. So that concludes this episode of the Hellworld Report. If you liked it, please subscribe and consider donating to my Patreon, link down below. It helps the channel and I appreciate it so much.
All right, I couldn't freeze frame on that, whatever that was at the end. Yeah, overall good video by Shoe. I mean, obviously I disagree with her on a few points, but at least she has some, you know, common sense coming out in things. And that's why I like watching her channel, because it actually gives a little bit of perspective from a non-completely crazy person, like most of the people in the comments that argue with me. So, great video. Give her some love. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Let's get back to work, guys. Keep praying. I'll see you in the next one.